evening, folks. Angie here, and boy, do we have a jam-packed N3 primetime ahead. Speaker Mike Johnson is shaking things up, pushing for an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden over family dealings. Then Mike Pence steps back from his presidential campaign, leaving a trail of unanswered questions about Trump's endorsement. Next up, Representative Dean Phillips throws his hat into the 2024 ring, challenging Biden. Meanwhile, special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into Trump might be winding down, but the political drama, far from it. And in global news, the Israeli-Hamas conflict heats up, raising alarms worldwide. But that's not all. Later in the show, our comment section dives into what you have to say, and you won't want to miss our Looking at You Spotlight segment. Over to you, Gary. Let's get this show on the road.
Good evening, America. Gary here, and as always, it's essential we break down what's truly happening and explain why all these stories matter to you. From Washington's political theater to global crisis, every decision, every move has a direct or indirect impact on your life, your family, and your future. Now think of these stories as your financial portfolio, a mix of assets you've carefully chosen over time, but in the unpredictable storm of current events, how can you ensure your investments, both literal and metaphorical, are truly protected? And speaking of protection, have you ever thought of safeguarding your financial future? Many folks feel lost, not knowing where to begin. But the pros at Noble Gold Investments get it. Imagine having someone to navigate the complex world of precious metals for you, making the daunting seem straightforward. And here's what their real-life customers are saying. No pressure, just genuine advice. Finally, peace of mind with my investments. Now, isn't that the stability you're looking for, especially in these turbulent times? To sweeten the deal, they're even gifting a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coin for qualifying accounts. Dive into financial clarity by visiting nextnewsgold.com. Trust me, it's the only gold company I rely on. Now, Angie, give us a glimpse of your headlines for tonight.
Good evening, America. Angie here, and tonight we've got a lot on our plate, from the ever-transforming Disney adjusting to the so-called woke culture to startling bias accusations in our very own judiciary system. We're here to shed light on what matters. But it's not all heavy. Our hip-hop artists are breaking barriers, resonating with political figures in unexpected ways. And while we embrace progress and understanding, the Biden administration's new mandates have some of us asking, where does personal respect end and enforced conformity begin? Oh, and brace yourselves, Sweet Tooth Nation, your Halloween treats, they're taking a bite out of your wallets. These are the stories that hit home, challenge our perspectives, and shape our future. But first, let's kick things off with Gary's first special report. Gary?
Tonight, we have a special report you do not want to miss. Newly elected Speaker Mike Johnson isn't wasting a second. He's been clear. There is a storm brewing, and it's centered around the Biden impeachment inquiry. Johnson is not only doubling down on this priority, but has hinted at bringing Hunter Biden into the limelight to testify. With evidence mounting and bank records speaking volumes, what could this mean for the Biden administration? Stay with us, because by the end of this report, I'll be sharing a final thought that underscores why the story should matter to every American citizen who believes in the Republic. And trust me, you want to hear it. So attention all patriots, imagine a beacon shining light into the shadowy corners of political dealings. If you're a business owner or a service provider who believes in transparency, it's time to join forces with a network dedicated to uncovering the truth. By partnering with the Next News Network, you're not just advertising, you're supporting crucial investigative journalism. Together, let's restore the Republic. So to be part of this mission, head over to sponsораpatriot.com, and that is where you can sign up to get started. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson, fresh in his new role, has laid down the gauntlet. Accelerating the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden stands as his foremost mission for the first 100 days. But why this fervor, you ask? Well, it boils down to some rather concerning dealings of Biden's family members, specifically Hunter and James Biden. Reports suggest that they might have been selling the Biden brand to foreign interests, leading to whispers that the president could now be compromised. Now, this is not the first time an impeachment inquiry was initiated against President Biden. Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy lit the beacon last September, aiming to decipher if the president's decision were swayed by his son and brother's business actions. McCarthy then cited allegations that point to abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption. Now, in his first appearance on Fox News after being elected, Johnson was candid with Sean Hannity. He explained the shift towards an impeachment inquiry wasn't just political maneuvering. It's based on evidence and the growing suspicion of potential impeachable offenses. Bribery is a term that's been thrown around, and Johnson is keen to follow the trail wherever it may lead, but unlike some, he's clear about following due process and basing any action on evidence, not emotion or political gamesmanship. Watch.
As John Adams said, facts are stubborn things. They're hard to ignore. I believe the documents are proving all that. As my good brother Jamie Comer often says, the bank records don't lie. So we have the receipts on so much of this now. It's a real problem. That's the reason that we shifted into the impeachment inquiry stage on the president himself, because if in fact all the evidence leads to where we believe it will, that's very likely impeachable offenses. You know, that's listed as a cause for impeachment in the Constitution. You know, bribery and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Bribery is listed there, and it looks and smells a lot like that. And I think the evidence, we're going to follow the truth where it leads. We're going to engage in due process because, again, we're the rule of law party. I know people are getting anxious and they're getting restless and they just want somebody to be impeached, but that's not. We don't do that like the other team. We have to base it upon the evidence, and the evidence is coming together. We'll see where it leads.
Johnson was again in the spotlight with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, where he highlighted ongoing investigations by committees like the Judiciary, lauding the efforts of Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan and Jason Smith. Johnson's tone was consistent. This is about upholding the Constitution and the rule of law. The focus isn't on partisan games, as he feels the Democrats play with Trump. Instead, it's on tracing the evidence and, when ready, presenting their findings for all to see. Watch.
Processes here and ensure regular order. Maria, if we do that, we don't have to worry about a motion to vacate. And I'm doing that, working on that every day.
And sir, what about the investigations into the potential Biden family influence peddling, potential bribery? Are you going to allocate the financial resources and human capital needed to do an in-depth investigation? And will an impeachment inquiry turn into an official impeachment?
We'll see, Maria. You know, I worked on the committees of jurisdiction, and Judiciary is one of those. I think our chairmen have done an exceptional job. You've spoken to all of them, Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan and Jason Smith, on oversight and Judiciary and Ways and Means. They continued those investigations even while we were going through the tumult of the speaker's race. They were still working methodically through that. I'm encouraging that. I think we have a constitutional responsibility to follow this truth where it leads. We're the rule of law team. We don't use this for political partisan games like the Democrats have done and did against Donald Trump twice. We are going to follow the law and follow the Constitution. And I think you and I have a suspicion of where that may lead, but we're going to let the evidence speak for itself.
Johnson also hinted at the possibility of subpoenaing Hunter Biden for testimony. He believes it's a step that may be long overdue and one that could provide answers the American people deserve. Emphasizing his approach's thoroughness, he referred to the weight of bank records, hinting that these financial trails might reveal more than meets the eye. Watch.
Are you expecting to subpoena Hunter Biden?
I'm looking at that. I think that desperate times call for desperate measures, and that perhaps is overdue. We've not made a full decision yet. I'm counseling with the attorneys involved on all of this to see what the contours of. I'm an attorney myself, so I speak the language. We're trying to move forward on some of this very aggressively. I think the American people are owed these answers, and I think our suspicions about all this, the evidence that we've gathered so far, as you know, is affirming what many of us feared may be the worst. And as Jamie Comer likes to say, bank records don't lie. We already have a lot of this evidence. The dots are being connected, and we'll see where it leads.
There's no doubt that Joe Biden's vacation is being shattered at this moment as this news is echoing across Washington, D.C. And now recent revelations by the House Oversight Committee Chairman Representative James Comer have further intensified the narrative. Comer unveiled bank records showcasing a direct payment of $200,000 from James and Sarah Biden to Joe Biden. This transaction trails back to 2018 when James Biden secured a significant loan from AmeriCorps, a struggling rural hospital operator. Court documents suggest this loan was facilitated due to the allure of the Biden name and James Biden's purported political connections. Intriguingly, on the very day AmeriCorps wired $200,000 into James and Sarah Biden's personal account, James Biden promptly wrote a check with the same amount to Joe Biden. Comer's expose on this direct payment raises questions that President Biden might need to answer sooner than later. Watch.
This summer, Joe Biden said, "Where's the money?" Well, we found some. We're still digging into evidence subpoenaed from bank accounts belonging to Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, and James and Sarah Biden, the brother and sister-in-law of the president. A document that we're releasing today raises new questions about how President Biden personally benefited from his family's shady influence peddling of his last name and their access to him. Bank records obtained by the House Committee on Oversight have revealed a $200,000 direct payment from James and Sarah Biden to Joe Biden in the form of a personal check. Here's some important context about this check we've obtained in our investigation. In 2018, James Biden received $600,000 in loans from AmeriCorps, a financially distressed and failing rural hospital operator. According to bankruptcy court documents, James Biden received these loans, quote, based upon representations that his last name, Biden, could open doors and that he could obtain a large investment from the Middle East based on his political connections, end quote. On March 1st, 2018, AmeriCorps wired a $200,000 loan into James and Sarah Biden's personal bank account, not their business bank account. And then on the very same day, James Biden wrote a $200,000 check from this same personal bank account to Joe Biden. James Biden wrote this check to Joe Biden as a, quote, loan repayment. AmeriCorps, a distressed company, loaned money to James Biden, who then sent it to Joe Biden. Even if this was a personal loan repayment, it's still troubling that Joe Biden's ability to be paid back by his brother depended on the success of his family's shady financial dealings. Some immediate questions President Biden must answer for the American people. Does he have documents proving he lent such a large sum of money to his brother? And what were the terms of such financial agreement? Did he have similar financial agreements with other family members that led them to make similar large payments to him? And did he know that the same day James Biden wrote him a check for $200,000, James Biden had just received a loan for the exact same amount from business dealings with a company that was in financial distress and failing? The House Oversight Committee will soon announce our next investigative actions and continue to follow the money. The bank records don't end here. There's more to come.
And we're waiting. And Comer didn't mince words, expressing his concerns over the recent revelations. In his words, even if this was a personal loan repayment, the context in which Joe Biden was repaid hinges on his family's questionable financial dealings. The stage is set with Speaker Mike Johnson leading the charge. The coming days promise deeper investigations, probable testimonies, and maybe, just maybe, a clear understanding of the Biden's family dealings. The new Speaker of the House is showing that he's not here to play games, and time is quickly running out for the Biden presidency. For many, it's a reckoning that's been long overdue. With allegations of corruption and bribery, clear grounds for impeachment as laid out in our Constitution, it seems the wheels of justice are finally turning. It's high time America cleans house. The looming challenge, if Biden were to be removed, then, well, we'd face a Harris administration, an unsettling thought for many. But as we look forward to 2024, there is a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Many are yearning for the return of Trump to the White House to resume his mission of draining the swamp. The clock is ticking, and the stakes have never been higher. Now, let's go to Angie with a spotlight on South Park's recent take on Disney's quality. Angie?
Disney, long hailed as the benchmark for wholesome family entertainment, seems to be succumbing to today's woke pressures. Their much-anticipated remake of Snow White, originally slated for March 2024, has been postponed to 2025. This unexpected delay has sparked widespread speculation. Is Disney retooling the classic to fit a more political correct mold? And it's not just fans noticing. South Park recently took a humorous jab, hinting at the entertainment industry's superficial embrace of diversity rather than genuine representation. Dive deeper, tap the link below. And now for a report on Trump's latest Vegas performance. Over to you, Gary.
Tonight, an explosive political showdown like no other. Trump, Pence, Biden, and even Chris Christie all making headlines, all making waves. From surprise campaign suspensions to scorching demands for endorsements, the political realm is ablaze. If you thought politics was just about policies, well, think again. It's a performance, it's a drama, and President Trump knows how to dominate the stage. From theatrical impersonations in Las Vegas to slamming judges and political opponents alike, there's no shortage of must-see moments. And as we unpack the details, remember, don't go anywhere. Our final thought is something every citizen in our republic needs to hear. Now, before we dive deep, here is something crucial. Like a well-oiled machine, our news operates smoothly because of sponsors that believe in us, just as we believe in delivering the truth. And think of them as the sturdy base holding up the skyscraper of truth that we build daily. And just as President Trump vouches for loyalty, we vouch for the sponsors and their integrity. Want to gain control in these uncertain times? Noble Gold Investments is your go-to. Simplifying the process of investing in gold and silver, they come with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and glowing 5-star reviews. Take charge of your finances now. Visit nextnewsgold.com to know more. And you'll even get a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualified accounts. Remember, when you support them, you back our quest for truth. Now, the U.S. political landscape is in turmoil. Last Saturday, former Vice President Mike Pence made waves by suspending his beleaguered presidential campaign, struggling with mounting debts and hampered by a reputation as perceived as a traitor to President Trump. Pence's run lacked momentum from the start. Unlike other GOP dropouts, Pence's departure stood out. He refrained from endorsing Trump. This stark choice underlines the widening rift between the two and raises questions about the GOP's future direction. This charged atmosphere and the deep implications of Pence's decision can be seen vividly in this footage. Watch.
Last June, I announced my intention to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States because I believe this country is in a lot of trouble. I was raised to believe that to whom much is given, much will be required. And with everything our country is facing, I just couldn't sit this one out. But the Bible tells us that there's a time for every purpose under heaven. Traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me this is not my time. So after much prayer and deliberation, I have decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today. Now, I'm leaving this campaign, but let me promise you, I will never leave the fight for conservative values, and I will never stop fighting to elect principled Republican leaders to every office in the land. So help me God.
Yeah, you could use a little help from God, Mr. Pence. And in a lively rally in Las Vegas, President Trump made it clear he expects Pence's endorsement. Quote, people are leaving now and they're all endorsing me. I don't know about Mike Pence. He should endorse me. That's what Trump declared. Their shared history was referenced, with Trump recalling their past partnership and hinting at Pence's obligation. Watch.
A lot of everybody that leaves seems to be endorsing me. You know, people are leaving now and they're all endorsing me. I don't know about Mike Pence. He should endorse me. He should endorse me. You know why? Because I had a great, successful presidency and he was the vice president. He should endorse me. I chose him, made him vice president. But people in politics can be very disloyal. I've never.
Now, the saga between them isn't new. Pence was a staunch ally during Trump's term. Yet the aftermath of the 2020 election showed cracks appeared. When Pence didn't support Trump's bid to overturn the 2020 election results, tension escalated. Trump's statement on Pence, even from months ago, give us some insight. Trump's post on Truth Social labeled Pence as delusional and having gone to the dark side. As for Pence, he held nothing back, critical of Trump's actions, particularly around January 6th. Pence's memoir gives us an inside look, saying Trump was wrong for pressuring him on the 2020 election results, according to his words. History, Pence believes, will remember this. And of course, we will remember your actions, Mr. Pence. Now, switching gears, let's talk entertainment. And by that, I mean Trump's Las Vegas rally. Here he masterfully impersonated President Biden, driving home concerns about Biden's leadership capabilities. Watch.
He can't put two sentences together and he's in charge of nuclear warfare. Oh, my. No, but 3 days ago, he got off the thing, and, you know, I see a stairway there, I see a stairway there. If I had to, I'd jump right off this front of the thing. We could make it. It's about 4 feet. I think I could make it. I mean, it's better than looking around driving in circles. I'd rather do that than do that. You just jump off and you pretend it was like just normal. Because, did you ever see him though? He finishes, and by that time all the stuff is worn off, so he's totally incoherent. And he goes, thank you. All right? Where am I? Thank you. Thank you.
The crowd's reaction, priceless. And then there was the nickname game, Sleepy Joe Biden or Crooked Joe Biden. Well, the audience had a clear favorite. Watch.
He can't put two, but a vote for Joe Biden, Crooked Joe. You know, we changed his name. We had Sleepy Joe. They're both good. Let me ask you, what's a better name? Sleepy Joe Biden, or Crooked Joe Biden? They're both very accurate. They're both accurate. Which is better? Okay, let's have a vote. Which is better? Ready? We'll go crooked first, so we'll go. Which is better? Crooked Joe Biden or Sleepy Joe Biden? All right, crooked. So
Biden's moment of lost train of thought, coupled with occasional missteps and falls, have raised many eyebrows. Yes, he's the oldest president ever, but age isn't the sole concern here. Trump may be 77, but the public isn't worried. Both dominate the 2024 polls, hinting at a potential electoral rematch. On the other side, Chris Christie's attempt to challenge Trump ended in a spectacle of its own. In a speech that tried to undermine Trump, he was met with a chorus of boos. Watch.
Good morning. Today is too serious a day. Too serious a day. And too serious a moment for pettiness. Today is too serious a day and too serious a moment. Much too serious a moment for unserious people.
Now to the legal front. After a fine for breaching a gag order, Trump turned to his attention to Judge Engoron, blasting him for insisting his daughter Ivanka testify. Unleashing his thoughts on Truth Social, Trump labeled Engoron as Trump-hating, unhinged, grossly incompetent, and more. And then, with New York Attorney General Letitia James leading the charge against Trump, Ivanka remains a significant figure. Her deep involvement with the Trump Organization makes her a critical witness. The trial, with its twists and turns, continues to gain momentum, while Trump is set to testify. A recent blow came when Judge Engoron dismissed a motion by Trump's legal team highlighting Michael Cohen's admitted perjury, causing Donald Trump to storm out. Watch.
The witness just admitted that we won the trial, and the judge should end this trial immediately. Thank you.
As the political drama unfolds, Donald Trump's momentum remains unshaken. With every campaign stop, he seems to be gaining ground, while opponents like Mike Pence opt out and figures like Joe Biden appear increasingly ineffectual on the global stage, to the dismay of many Americans. The persistent stumbling of the Biden administration, viewed by some as an embarrassment, only highlights the contrast. Astonishingly, despite the barrage of indictments and relentless accusations, President Trump's popularity seems to rise rather than wane. The surging polls suggest that the public is weary of what they perceive as political charades, seeing through the smokescreen of indictments. More and more, Americans are alarmed by the lackluster response of impending global crisis, feeling the weight of the world teetering on the brink of potential World War III. The yearning is clear. They demand decisive leadership in these trying times. Now, turning to the judiciary controversy now, Angie, what have you got? Some updates on Donald's criticism?
U.S. Representative Byron Donalds has raised alarms over what he perceives as bias in the federal judiciary, particularly after Representative Jamal Bowman's lenient sentencing for causing a significant disruption at the Capitol. Last month, Bowman, caught on camera, triggered a mass evacuation by pulling a fire alarm during an important vote. Yet his punishment consisted merely of a $1,000 fine and a 3-month probation period. Donalds highlights the contrast in this decision to the more severe penalties given to nonviolent January 6th protesters. He emphasizes the necessity to treat all official proceedings of business with consistent seriousness. Dive deeper, tap the link below. The 2024 election dynamics are changing. Gary, what do you have for us?
In a world of political chess, we've just witnessed a shocking move. Democrat Congressman Dean Phillips is taking on none other than President Biden for the 2024 Democrat nomination. But there's another twist. Former President Donald Trump is drawing a younger crowd, building a mighty 2024 campaign foundation. And now the question is, how will this reshape the political battlefield? You don't want to miss our in-depth analysis, and trust me, by the end of this report, our final thought will leave you pondering America's political future. So, folks, before we dive deep, let's chat. Picture our sponsors as the power source. Much like how Congressman Phillips wants to be the new Democrat face, they energize us to give you top-notch news every day. When you support them, you're giving us a nod of approval. If you've pondered how a simple act like stepping on a scale can reinforce your weight loss goal, well, now there's an all-natural boost to help you on that journey, and for this month, you get a sweet 51% off. Head over to trimwithgary.com or check out the link below. And now a political shocker is looming. Representative Dean Phillips of Minnesota, a Democrat, is tossing his hat into the ring, challenging President Joe Biden for the 2024 Democrat nomination. Why Phillips thinks Biden won't make the cut for 2024? Watch.
Are you running for president?
I am. I have to. I think President Biden has done a spectacular job for our country, but it's not about the past. This is an election about the future. I will not sit still. I will not be quiet in the face of numbers that are so clearly saying that we're going to be facing an emergency next November.
Now, this isn't a rash decision. The 54-year-old congressman had played coy about the move for months. Earlier this year, Phillips hinted at a possible presidential run, though he expressed doubts about whether the timing was right. But after seeing the current administration's dwindling popularity, he chose to act. And Phillips isn't just challenging Biden. He's vacating his leadership post within the House Democrats due to his public stance on the issue. Bold? No, absolutely. A sign of deeper divides within the party? Quite possibly. In a recent CBS interview, he elaborated on his motives. For Phillips, 4 central pillars will hold his campaign aloft. On the economy, he stresses the need for a robust middle class, emphasizing the necessity to reduce the cost of living. Quote, the U.S. should be the world's most prosperous nation. That's what he says, advocating a pro-business and pro-worker stance. On safety, he says it's paramount. He laments the ongoing drug and mental health crisis, stressing their grave implications on individuals and communities alike. And on generational change, he believes that the Republic is yearning for a generational shift, urging for policies favoring the young. And on bipartisanship and listening, he pitches for a more united, less polarized political environment. He supports campaign finance reforms, term limits, and bipartisan cabinets. So let's add some context. The Democrat Party is in a bit of turmoil. They're searching, possibly scrambling, for a strong candidate to go up against the GOP frontrunner, Donald Trump, in 2024. And speaking of Trump, recent polls reveal intriguing data. A last week Emerson College poll showcased Trump leading President Biden by 2 points in a hypothetical 2024 matchup. Trump's 47% to Biden's 45% is certainly causing waves. But there's more. Trump's support is not static. His popularity surged by 2 points compared to the previous month, while Biden's numbers remain stagnant. Other polls echo these sentiments. A CNBC survey gave Trump a 4-point lead nationwide, and a Bloomberg Morning Consult poll handed Trump a similar advantage in 7 pivotal swing states. Young voters, often perceived as leaning liberal, are warming up to Trump. Among 18 to 29-year-olds, Trump edges Biden by roughly 2 points. And for those between 30 to 39, Trump's lead stretches to a staggering 11 points. Watch.
One big area, no surprise, it is the economy. Look at this contrast. This is April of 21, months after Biden took office. Nearly half the country was satisfied with where the economy was then. Now, barely 1 in 4 Americans satisfied with the economy. There's also this. We found an enthusiasm gap between the two parties. We asked folks on a scale of 1 to 10, how enthusiastic are you about the presidential election? And you can see Republican to Democrat, there is a gap right there. Where's the lag for Democrats? We found a couple places. Non-white voters, you could see significantly less enthusiastic than white voters. And then how about this age gap? The youngest group of voters who Democrats have been trying to get excited and motivated, a nearly 50-point gap there.
So really an uphill battle to try to make sure voters don't stay home if you're Democrats.
Yeah, that's it. And the problem for Democrats, too, the lack of enthusiasm about the election. There's clearly a lack of enthusiasm about the president himself, because we asked primary voters on the Democratic side, do you want options next year besides Biden? 59% said yes, they do. This is not a normal number for an incumbent. We asked the same question a year before Donald Trump sought re-election of Republicans. Only 37% wanted more choices then. That's a very high number.
Yeah, this is like the inverse of each other, these two numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it raises the question, too, what else concerns Democrats? And I think this gets to sort of the elephant in the room here. Biden's age and fitness. I mean, look at this contrast. We have talked so much about Donald Trump, the indictments, the legal woes. They are clearly a major or moderate concern to the majority of Americans. But Biden's age and fitness for office, almost 3 out of 4 in our poll. This is Democrats, Republicans, independents say it's a major or moderate concern for them. How about Trump? He's only a few years younger than Biden. A full 27-point gap right there. This is looming as a major problem for the president.
Diving into President Biden's figure, they paint a telling picture. His overall approval rating sits at 42%, a meager 1-point rise from the previous month. Contrastingly, his disapproval rating has climbed 3 points to 50%. A recent NBC poll amplified these sentiments, revealing that a majority of Democrat voters desire a fresh face other than Biden for the next election. In the midst of these shifting sands, Representative Dean Phillips has chosen to stand up. Many progressives are rallying behind him, seeing him as a glimmer of hope. However, others dismiss him, suggesting his challenge might be short-lived, liking his ambition to a fleeting gust of wind. As former President Trump continues to build momentum, especially among the youth, Phillips has his task cut out. Trump's persistent base, combined with his growing appeal to a younger demographic, pose a formidable challenge. In this ever-evolving political landscape, Phillips' decision might be the nudge the Democrat Party needed. With the stakes this high, every move, every decision, and every statement will be under intense scrutiny. So it's a momentous turn in the political narrative. Democrat Congressman Dean Phillips officially steps up, aiming to challenge Biden in the 2024 primaries. While a segment of the progressive electorate cheered with enthusiasm, a significant number view Phillips as a passing breeze, here one moment and gone the next. On the other side, former President Donald Trump surges ahead, somewhat silhouetted above the noise, securing an increasing foothold among the youth for a potential 2024 comeback. The mere idea might give some a cold sweat, but turning a blind eye to Trump's unwavering loyal base and newfound youth appeal would be naive. They might very well be the twin engines propelling him to triumph in the ensuing electoral bout. The political theater is at its most riveting, and the final act is far from written. Which direction will the political winds favor? Only the sands of time will tell. But here's an unmistakable reality. Representative Phillips' audacious challenge against this backdrop needs more than hope to rewrite this progressive chapter and thwart the Republican juggernaut. A surprising moment at Ole Miss with Little Pump. Angie?
A recent party at Ole Miss saw rapper Little Pump rally students with a spirited "We Love Trump" chant. This isn't new for Pump. He endorsed Trump last year and praised his contributions to the country. He's not alone either. Hip-hop artists like Waka Flocka Flame, Sexy Red, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne have all voiced their support. Notably, YG, who once criticized Trump, acknowledged the former president's growing backing among Black Americans. Current data about 1 in 5 Black Americans back Trump's re-election campaign. It's clear as 2024 approaches, Trump's influence is resonating with unexpected circles like the hip-hop community. It's a trend that's breaking stereotypes, one we'll be watching closely. Dive deeper, tap the link below. There are developments in the Trump investigation. Gary?
And now you're about to hear a story that will make you question everything you've heard about the relentless legal attacks against Donald Trump. Special counsel Jack Smith, after a year of relentless pursuit, seems to be signaling the end of his investigation. Meanwhile, despite facing potentially the biggest challenge yet with the ruling on his daughter Ivanka's testimony, Trump is pushing back harder than ever. And let me tell you, his response is something that you don't want to miss. By the end of this special report, you'll see why these latest moves matter significantly, not just to Trump, but to the Republic as a whole. Stick around. You don't want to miss our final thought on this one. So, folks, before we jump into the details, let me draw a quick parallel for you. Just as athletes depend on their muscles and strength to perform at their peak, we depend on our sponsors to bring you top-tier news daily. And much like muscles wane with age, our news would falter without the robust support of our sponsors. I've tried this innovative product aimed at combating age-related muscle loss, and if you're in your 40s and 50s and can relate, don't miss out on their special offer for our viewers. Secure yours at gainwithgary.com or tap more below this video. Now back to our report. In what can only be described as a series of intriguing developments, the extensive investigation against former President Donald Trump has taken some unexpected turns. Special counsel Jack Smith, who for over a year had federal prosecutors and the House committee investigating the events of January 6, 2021, trying relentlessly to lay claims at Trump's feet, seems to be showing signs of retreat. Last week, the Washington Post brought attention to the fact that Smith's office retracted its subpoena for Save America. Following suit, the New York Times highlighted that Smith's team had discreetly withdrawn the subpoena seeking records from Trump's 2020 campaign. These backtracks raise eyebrows, to say the least. Watch.
Speaking of subpoenas, special counsel Jack Smith withdraws his second subpoena in 2 weeks. He had requested fundraising records from Donald Trump's 2020 campaign. It's unclear why he's reversed course. Earlier this month, Smith also withdrew a subpoena seeking records from Political Action Committee Save America. There's speculation that his inquiry may be slowing down. Since last year, federal prosecutors have been trying to determine whether Trump and his aides violated fundraising laws by allegedly spreading false claims that the election had been rigged. The former president's team raised nearly $250 million. Prosecutors have been issuing grand jury subpoenas and reviewing tons of records in an effort to connect the Trump campaign and Save America to their election fraud case. The financial part of the investigation didn't make its way into the 4-count indictment announced in August.
Now, these are not insignificant moves. When a special counsel's office decides to kill off subpoenas, it points to a change in the course of the investigation. It sends a powerful message that Smith's campaign against Trump might be nearing its endpoint, with diminishing places to probe without appearing imprudent. It's worth noting that the former president's team has raised a whopping $250 million by persistently emphasizing the election was rigged. Such a colossal figure not only reflects the steadfast support Trump receives, but also underscores the public's belief in his statements. Since at least last November, prosecutors had embarked on a mission to investigate both Save America and the Trump campaign. They'd issued grand jury subpoenas, sifted through volumes of documents, and yet their focus on the financial dimension of the investigation didn't gain any traction. Interestingly, this financial angle was conspicuously absent in the August indictment lodged in Washington, which indicted Trump of conspiring to retain office by undermining the electoral process. The Times also pointed out something crucial. Trump's legal ensemble has, from the outset, asserted that Smith's financial scrutiny would hardly culminate in charges. The boundary between criminal acts and solicitations shielded by the First Amendment is razor thin. It appears Smith might have hit this very barrier in his quest. Now let's address the numerous legal challenges Trump encountered in the aftermath of the 2020 election. While many were shrugged off, especially in Democrat-leaning states, primarily on procedural basis, there's emerging evidence supporting Trump's claims, especially in battleground states such as Georgia and Arizona. Furthermore, Trump's resolute stand, which began the day following the election when he highlighted evident voting discrepancies and fraud in multiple states, has been nothing short of magnetic. His popularity surges in the polls and his financial backing for re-election continues to soar, validating that a significant portion of America stands staunchly with him. In recent political news, former Vice President Mike Pence has just exited the primary race for the Republican nomination, stating it's not my time, a telling move given Trump's overwhelming lead in the primary polls. However, the story doesn't end there. Enter Judge Arthur Engoron's recent ruling in the ongoing New York civil fraud trial, a decree that requires Ivanka Trump to provide testimony. Watch.
Will Ivanka Trump testify against her father? A New York judge may soon find out after ordering her to testify in the civil fraud case. NTD's legal correspondent Arlene Richards has more.
Ivanka Trump was unsuccessful in her attempt to dodge a subpoena issued in the New York civil fraud case. Judge Arthur Engoron on Friday said she does have to testify. An appellate court previously dismissed her from the case, saying the claims against her were too old. Her attorney argued that she shouldn't now be forced to appear. Engoron responded that the senior Trump's daughter has clearly availed herself of the privilege of doing business in New York. But Engoron said she won't have to testify before next Wednesday, giving her time to appeal his decision.
Ivanka's testimony becomes a pivotal point in the legal trajectory. It has the potential to bring forward new revelations and challenges. It is also a testament to how intertwined Trump's personal and professional life is with the ongoing investigation. What followed, the order, is especially telling. Trump's response to Judge Engoron's decision stands as an audacious testament to his resolve. Trump not only repudiated the judge's ruling, but openly questioned its legitimacy, stating Ivanka has done nothing wrong, and this is just another witch hunt aimed at weakening our movement. But much like everything else that Trump faces, this too might change the political landscape. His determination to fight back, to assert his narrative, and challenge the established norms, even when things look bleak, continues to galvanize millions. As we near the close of our discussion, it's essential to reflect on the bigger picture. Trump's influence and impact on the American political landscape are undeniable. His resilience against the onslaught of investigations, the unwavering support he receives, and the significant challenges he presents to his adversaries all underline a singular point. Trump remains a force to be reckoned with. And as the investigation evolves, it's unclear whether it'll be Trump or his opponents who emerge on the victorious side. However, what's clear is that Trump's legacy, be it in the form of his policies, his charismatic leadership, or his undying spirit, will remain a significant talking point for years to come. So in a series of quiet maneuvers, Special Counsel Jack Smith's actions increasingly suggest a potential dead end in his relentless pursuit. But if history has taught us anything about Donald Trump, is that he never backs down, especially when his family's involved. As Ivanka Trump faces the possibility of testifying, her father's fierce defense indicates that he's determined to shield her from the emotional distress associated with such proceedings. This isn't just a political battle, it's personal. Trump's intensified resistance underscores a crucial message for the American people, that leadership isn't just about policy, but about unwavering dedication to family and principle. It prompts a reflection on what values we prioritize in our leaders and highlights the blurred lines between personal struggles and public office. As the saga continues, every twist and turn serves as a testament to resilience, determination, and the complexities of governance in modern America. New debates around Biden's policies. What have you got on that, Angie?
The Department of Health and Human Services, led by Admiral Rachel Levine, just mandated a new policy. This HHS gender non-discrimination and inclusion policy requires employees to address colleagues by their chosen pronouns and gender identity. Announced on National Coming Out Day, it aims to support transgender and non-binary workers. The policy, however, has critics. Earlier this year, a similar Biden administration move was labeled an error and withdrawn. The big question now, where's the line between personal respect and collective conformity? Many are waiting to see the administration's tolerance for those objecting due to faith. Clearly, Biden's team aims to change workplace norms. The boundaries between free speech and conformity, that's our watch. Dive deeper, tap the link below. A grave situation unfolding in Gaza. Gary?
Good evening, my dear viewers who are on the brink of what might become one of the most defining moments in Israel's history, eerily echoing back to their iconic War of Independence. But rest assured, this isn't an isolated story unfolding in a distant land. It's intertwined with our own narrative. As Iran's war games crescendo in intensity and U.S. warships strategically position themselves, even our streets echo with pro-Palestinian chants. But beyond the political strategies and volatile war maneuvers, there's a looming question that every American must ask. How will this overseas conflict impact our day-to-day lives and our wallets? You'll want to stay tuned to grasp the depth and potential implications of this riveting tale. And as we close this special report, we'll leave you with a profound final thought, shedding light on why these global shifts are crucial for every American. And before delving into the Middle East complexities, let's discuss preparedness. Much like the Israeli Defense Forces, always being ready is key. This is where My Patriot Supply steps in. They're more than sponsors, they're champions of readiness. Supporting them also supports our journalism. And currently they're offering a 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food kit. In uncertain times, preparation is essential. Visit preparewithgary.com for this exclusive offer. Ensure your family's safety, mirroring how Israel protects its people. It's a wise choice. So tonight we delve into a situation that's gripping not just the Middle East, but the entire world. The Israel-Hamas conflict has escalated dramatically. Over the weekend, we saw Israeli cities struck by Hamas rockets, the damage, homes destroyed, several injuries, and a heightened sense of fear among the Israeli people. And while tensions soar, Hamas has proposed a hostage exchange deal with Israel. The IDF's response? They're calling the timing of this offer psychological terror and vow to explore all means to get their people back. Amidst this, Hezbollah is making its presence felt in the north. This entire situation paints a grim picture for Israel. Watch.
Let's take you live now to a news conference being held by the IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari on Israel's war with Hamas. Let's listen in.
As well as infrastructure and positions of Hezbollah. The terror organization Hezbollah continues to operate against us in the north, and we are killing and eliminating anyone who operates against us. Any terrorist cell of Hezbollah who will come near the fence will be eliminated. In the home front, we continue to conduct a situation estimate constantly in order to continue with our routine in the shadow of the war. I remind you to always adhere to the instructions of the Homefront Command, follow the websites, and we will continuously update, improve, and fix any problems there might be in the app. We must be very alert. So far, the Israeli civilians have been behaving in an exemplary way. Carry on. So far, we've informed the family of 311 IDF fatalities and the families of 230 hostages. We embrace the families. We will continue to be with them the whole time. We are doing everything we can in order to bring the hostages back home. It is our greatest effort. The IDF troops are now fighting in the battlefield for that end as well. This morning, a new cohort of scouts and outlooks are being recruited to the IDF. We saw how wonderful and amazing they were on October 7th. They have a very important role in safeguarding Israel's security. They are deployed throughout Israel's borders. Over this coming month, we're going to continue with the November recruiting, IDF recruiting as planned. We will make the necessary adjustments to make sure that all those who are supposed to be recruited will be recruited as planned.
The Israel Defense Forces have taken the battle of Gaza with troops on the ground backed by air and sea. They're making their intentions clear. Notably, Major Ella Wawela, the highest-ranking female Arab officer in the IDF, made an urgent plea, marking October 7th as the day humanity's core values were brutally attacked. Watch.
The Army spokesperson, Admiral Hakari, repeatedly stated that what Hamas has done is not in line with Islamic teachings. What's your take on this?
What Hamas has done is against Islam, against humanity. What Hamas has done, and what I've also seen in the videos, is against everything a human being could possibly conceive. Hamas has crossed the line. They kill children, they kill women, they kill the elderly. In which religion is this written? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, before every battle, what would he tell his soldiers? Do not kill an elder, do not kill a man, do not kill a woman, do not cut down a tree, even the tree. But even the dog wasn't safe from them at Hamas. You yourself saw the video of how they shot at the dog. Is this Islam? What I want to ask is this Islam? Definitely not. This has nothing to do with Islam, nor in humanity. I mean, I don't know where they got the heart and mind to even consider this kind of thing. October 7th, this date must be etched in all of humanity throughout history. Throughout all of history, for the crimes of Hamas, ISIS. And here lies all the pain. Every man, every woman, every person must see this. The horrific images, the horrific actions committed by Hamas, ISIS, they came to kill him. The one they came to kill, I mean, I even heard it in the video, in a call between one of these fighters, that they call them terrorist fighters. He talks to his mother and his father, who are also like him, it seems. They sent him so they could cleanse him. He tells them proudly, I killed 10 Jews. What, are you mocking? Are you mocking the act of killing?
Explain. Working again. What message do you want to convey to the Arab community that is angry, saying that Israel's war is not against Hamas, but against the innocents in Gaza? And of course, from the Arab sign, it incites them. What is your comment?
This is not Israel's war. This is war in which the whole world is involved. Terrorism must be combated. The world must fight back. Terrorism. The world must fight against the ISIS and Hamas. All actions that have occurred must be combated. Ultimately, the Israeli Defense Forces and Israel against the terrorist dens in Gaza. Even the residents of Gaza must be against the terrorist dens in their midst. This is necessary when we see whether the Israeli Defense Forces have nuclear power or whether it's in the instructions we're sending and the publications. The residents, what's happening? Hamas, the scourge, is taking their car keys from them in Gaza. They should leave their homes. So they leave them at home. So they leave them in front of, they leave them as human shields, as they say, like cannon fodder. Is this a war against civilians? Against the residents of Gaza? On the contrary, we are fighting the dens of terrorism. We are fighting the terrorist dens of Hamas. We do not want the ISIS of Hamas. Should anything else happen to the residents of Gaza or the innocents? No. Therefore, they must listen to all the instructions we provide through social media, through the broadcasts we give them on television, and through the channels. They should move to specific places where they are located and head to the southern region. This is our message, and a message to the world. Don't forget October 7th. This is a day against humanity. And we will all stand united together to live in peace.
Now, on the front lines, the IDF operations have uncovered and struck a whopping 150 Hamas underground sites. These tunnels were more than just escape routes. They were havens for plotting, communication hubs, and storage for weapons. A notable achievement for the IDF was eliminating the terrorists overseeing Hamas aerial assets. Their reach also extended to a Hezbollah site in response to rocket attacks, a clear message that Israel is not limiting its focus to just one adversary. Now let's talk about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's thrown his weight behind his soldiers, assuring that Israel isn't standing alone. With international backing, Netanyahu has announced a second stage against Hamas, preparing everyone for a long-drawn battle. Watch.
Citizens of Israel, last night, additional ground forces of ours entered the gates of Gaza last night at the entrance of the stronghold of evil. This is the second stage of the war. Our objectives are clear: the destruction of Hamas's military and governmental capabilities, and bringing the captives back home. We have made the decision to expand the recruitment activity. Phase 1, also in the War Cabinet, and also in the Security Political Cabinet.
Netanyahu also said in his first public remarks since the ground raids began on Friday that this is a second war of independence. Watch.
This is our second war of liberation. We are going to fight to protect the country. We're going to fight. We will not retreat by land, by sea, by air. We shall eliminate the enemy on top of the land and the bottom, and we shall prevail. It will be the good over evil, light over darkness, life over death. In this war, we are standing together, united more than ever.
While this happens, Iran is flexing its muscles. The massive war games they've initiated, dubbed Authority 1402, sees a colossal display of military strength with over 200 helicopters, missile launchers, tanks, and more. They're sending a very clear signal. Commander-in-Chief Abdulrahim Mossavali's statement, "We are always ready to deal with threats," might as well be a direct challenge to Israel and its allies. Watch.
Inshallah, it will be flying, and will be flying to other areas in the region of Nasr Abad, Isfahan. I would like to tell you that one of the objectives of this exercise is to transfer and replace two armies. One is an offensive and one is an offensive army with more than 4 types, 2 groups and rear units. This exercise will be carried out from all over the country. 7 provinces are involved in this exercise. The provinces of Khorasan-e-Razavi, Semnan Tehran, Khuzestan, Loristan, Fars, and Isfahan. They are the only ones who will participate in this exercise, with what has been described to them to be present in this exercise.
The U.S., too, isn't a mere spectator. The Pentagon's deployment of 2 formidable aircraft carriers in the eastern Mediterranean's post-October 7th Hamas attack emphasizes their concern and intent. Their goal? To contain the conflict. However, on Israel's border with Lebanon, a mural portraying various terrorist groups, including Hamas and Hezbollah, paints a bleak picture. Hezbollah, known to be equipped by Iran, has hinted at joining the conflict. Now, the Bible's prophecies in Ezekiel 38 and 39 have always suggested a mounting tension between Turkey and Israel. Turkish President Erdogan's recent speech seems to echo that sentiment, framing Israel as the villain while lauding Hamas as freedom fighters. And his warning to Israel? It's chilling. Is this the hook in the jaw? Watch.
Speaking plainly now, bilhassa, past decade, whatever we did in the name of fighting terrorism, any level of success that we have achieved, despite these, we succeeded, God willing, from now on as well. With the motto, we may come unexpectedly one night. Advancing on the path we cleared ourselves. We will continue.
Eli Cohen, Israeli foreign minister, reacting to the threats from Turkey, has called for a reassessment of diplomatic ties between the two nations. And on American streets, the wave of pro-Palestine protests can't be ignored. A chorus of voices calling for justice and an end to the conflict rises with every passing day. Cities from New York to Los Angeles are resonating with collective demand for change. Thousands are marching, holding placards and chanting slogans, asking the U.S. government to rethink its stance on the Middle East conflict. Watch. But here's the real kicker. It's not just about marches and slogan. This conflict, happening miles away, has the potential to leave a significant dent in our wallets. Well, how, you ask? Let's break it down. Looking beyond the immediate conflict, there's a looming economic shadow that threatens the U.S. If this conflict escalates, involving multiple nations, especially Iran, the world economy might take a hit. Oil prices are currently around $85 a barrel. They could spike, putting added financial stress on American households. The widening conflict in the Middle East might lead to increased inflation in the U.S., potentially even a global recession. The Federal Reserve, already grappling with inflation, could face even tougher challenges. The recent violence between Israel and Palestine is more than just a regional conflict. As Israel responds fiercely to Hamas attacks and external powers like Iran flex their military muscle, the situation grows increasingly complex. Adding to this mix is Turkey's veiled threats against Israel. As the world watches closely, the consequences of this conflict threaten to ripple out, affecting economies and, by extension, our wallets. So as we conclude our deep dive into this spiraling crisis, it's imperative for every American to understand that the maneuvers in the Middle East are not just a diplomatic chess move on a distant board. They have very tangible and real ramifications here at home. From the possible surge in oil prices affecting our daily commutes and household budgets to potential political and security implications, these overseas events touch the very fabric of our nation. It's not an overstatement to say that the ripples from this conflict could soon become waves crashing on our shores. In this age of global interconnectedness, no event is isolated and no nation is an island. It is our collective responsibility, our duty, to stay vigilant, informed, and prepared. For a rapidly changing world, our greatest defense is awareness and the resolve to act in the best interest of our nation and its people. Speaking of spending, Halloween is experiencing some woes this year. Angie, what have you got?
America, if you haven't already bought your candy to hand out tomorrow night, prepare to pay up. Candy prices surged 13% this October from last year, marking another year of steep hikes in the candy world. AP has reported this unwelcoming news just days ago. Cocoa, a major candy ingredient, is at a whopping 44-year high due to weather woes in West Africa. Sugar's not safe either, with prices reaching 12-year peaks. Factor in labor and packaging costs, and it's clear why our sweet treats cost more. Aldi's Mars chocolate bars, for instance, have jumped in price by over $5 in 2 years. Experts like Dan Sadler don't see relief soon. With candy prices mirroring larger inflation issues, it's all a wake-up call. Dive deeper, tap the link below. That's all the news I have for this edition of N3 Primetime. Now over to Gary with your comments from the comments section.
Good evening, folks. We've been sifting through your comments on our recent video, Tucker's Ominous Warning stirs national alarm, and it's clear you're concerned, frustrated, and fed up. So let's dive in to what you had to say. Natalie writes, Democrats need to be held accountable for committing treason. Now, Natalie, I share your sentiment. We've seen actions and decisions that seem so contrary to our nation's interests, it's baffling. Accountability isn't a one-party issue. It's an American issue. Next, we have Edit HQ reminding us that the Bible says, feed your people first. And Tucker is absolutely right. Well, Edith, you've touched on something vital. Charity begins at home. We can't be everything to everyone else in the world. If our own house is in disarray, we need to prioritize our own citizens. And Dave chimes in with, never seen such hatred towards a former president. Leave Trump alone. Dave, it's a sentiment felt by millions. The vitriol directed at President Trump, like him or not, has been unparalleled. We should focus on the issues and not character assassination. Now, Richard shares something truly heartbreaking. He says, I voted in every election since first eligible, and I was as proud of voting as I have proudly serving during Vietnam. The obvious massive Democrat Party blatant in-your-face voter fraud has killed my patriotism. Richard, first, thank you for your service. Second, your disillusionment with the process speaks volumes. Everyone should feel that their vote counts. Our republic depends on trust in the system. And lastly, Student 1621 states, someone should be held accountable. Yes, Mr. Biden is responsible, so let's ditch him in 2024. Well, accountability, as I've said, is an American issue. If the voters aren't happy with the job being done, they have every right to express that in the next election. Well, that's today's comment section. Keep the conversation going, folks. We are listening. Now, who are we looking at tonight? Tonight, we're looking at you, Mayor Eric Adams. New York City, the heartbeat of our republic, home to millions, now finds itself under the leadership of Mayor Eric Adams, and we're taking a close look. Mayor Adams has been frank about the city's financial situation, shedding light on a shocking revelation. Out of a $106 billion budget, a staggering $76 billion is already earmarked. Think of your household budget. Essential expenses like groceries and utilities are set, but what if your roof caves in? That's a surprise you didn't budget for. Adams likens the federal government to the insurance we rely on in those times, but what happens when the insurer, in this case the federal government, declines the claim? Taxpayers are left to shoulder an unprecedented $12 billion from a mere $30 billion of flexible funds, and Adams says it straight, it has to come from somewhere, but from where? Compounding this monetary morass is the influx of migrants. Numbers don't lie. New York City is expecting possibly hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers soon, adding to the city's strain. Up to 4,000 individuals are arriving every week. And before anyone jumps in with the obvious, well, just stop letting them in, Adams is clear. The hands of the city are tied by federal law. It's not as simple as closing doors or turning them away. Watch.
It is going to cost us this year $5 billion. In 3 years, $12 billion. We have a $106 billion budget, but $76 billion of that is already accounted for. It's like if you have a house and you budget yourself for the year, you know where your food, your clothing, your electricity, your gas, and all of those things. And all of a sudden, your roof caves in. You say, wait a minute, so I got insurance. Let them come fix it. Our insurance was the federal government, and they're saying to our insurance contract, we're not giving you anything. So now we have to, you, me, taxpayers, have to find $12 billion out of a $30 billion budget. It has to come from somewhere. It has to come from somewhere. And they're leaving us stranded. Stranded. And the worst part about it, we could easily get another 200,000 to 300,000 more migrant asylum seekers in the next few months. We're getting anywhere from 2,500 to 4,000 a week. A week. And the next, they say, well, Eric, why don't you just stop letting them in? It's against the law. Federal law does not allow me to do that. Well, why don't you just deport? It's against the law. Federal law doesn't allow me to do that. This has created a crisis that's wrong for New York taxpayers, wrong for the migrants, and wrong for our city and wrong for our country. And the national government is not doing their job. You should not have to pick up the cost of this. And migrants and asylum seekers should not be living in the conditions that we're in. Go look at what's happening in other cities. In Chicago, they're sleeping in the police precincts. In other places, they're sleeping on the streets. Our goal is for children and families not to sleep on the streets. But we're at the breaking point. There is no more room. Over 160-something thousand. And as I stated, we're getting anywhere from 2,500 to 4,000 a week. Think about that. This is so devastating for our city.
Thank Joe Biden for that. So the gravity of this crisis, well, it's not just New York's problem. Mayor Adams emphasizes this is a problem for taxpayers, migrants, the city, and ultimately our republic. From the police precincts of Chicago to the streets of other great American cities, migrants, including families, are faced with the reality of sleeping in conditions far removed from the American dream. New York, like many cities, is bursting at the seams, and Mayor Adams' warning is clear: we are at the breaking point. So why does this matter to you, the American people? It's more than just a city budget or the surge of migrants. It's about the promise and principle of our great republic, and of course, upholding the laws of our republic. If the nation's most iconic city is raising alarm bells, it's a signal for all of us to pay attention. We've covered a lot of ground tonight, folks, and these stories in many ways showcase the crossroads America finds itself at. Our government, as Speaker Mike Johnson reminds us, should remain transparent and accountable regardless of party. Vice President Pence stepping back underscores a political landscape that's in flux, while the rise of Representative Dean Phillips is an indicator of the growing discontent with the status quo. Trump's resilience in the face of numerous challenges is a testament to the section of America that feels unheard. And across the ocean, Israel's conflicts impact us more than we think, with potential reverberations in our own economy. And Disney's evolution, not just about movies, but reflects a cultural transition. And Representative Donald's alarm over judicial decisions underlines a growing concern many Americans share about fairness in our institutions. And then there's the surprising alliance of hip-hop with political figures. It's an illustration that no community is monolithic. The lines drawn by the Biden administration on workplace norms push the boundaries of personal identity and societal expectations. And as for our candy, it's a sweet but simple reminder that global issues can impact our wallets right here at home. America, these aren't just headlines. They're a mirror to our evolving nation. Whether you're concerned, elated, or somewhere in between, remember it's our collective responsibility to shape our future. So, folks, that wraps up our show tonight. And I want to give a big thank you to Angie for her indispensable news briefs. As always, the conversation doesn't end here. Thanks to everyone for tuning in and contributing your thoughts in the live chat. Your insights are what drive this dialogue forward. Before we sign off, think about this. In tonight's coverage, we've talked about accountability, navigating challenges, and looking out for America's future. Isn't that what we all want for our personal financial futures too? Well, our friends at Noble Gold Investments, they get that. They've simplified investing in precious metals, and don't just take my word for it. Hear from actual customers. The staff cleared my doubts and guided me. It felt genuine, no pushy sales. With Noble Gold, I've found peace regarding my finances. Look, if you're seeking stability, they're offering a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualified accounts, and they're a trusted name with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. Take the reins of your financial journey. Visit nextnewsgold.com or simply tap more below this video to explore their offerings. Remember, they are the gold company I personally vouch for. Now, we appreciate you dedicating your time to N3 Primetime tonight. If you found value in today's discussion, share the link and bring a friend next time. I'm Gary Franchi, and just to be clear, I'm not here to create followers. My mission is to empower each one of you to become leaders in your communities. Sleep tight, America.